Hi, everybody. Thank you guys for joining. Welcome to the Sophos live webinar. We're going to discuss Sophos Intercept X with the advanced EDR. So in today's session, we'll be looking at some of the core new features within the endpoint security and the new released Intercept X version 3. So there's lots of new exciting things that they've actually released within this new version. So we can now look at live discoveries, and this will help the IT security team in discovering what exactly is happening within the endpoints. So I'll quickly go through the different types of subscriptions we have available. So firstly, we can look at the Sophos Intercept X. So that is the first option we have there. So Intercept X straightforwardly blocks attacks by monitoring the file system. So detecting any of those rapid encryption of files and terminating all of those processes. So again, even if we had to roll back the changes, the files will then be there as if it has never been touched. So with Intercept X and EDR, we can then also include the endpoint protection in there. So that will have EDR, endpoint detection and response capabilities, as well as the Intercept X. So we will then have all of those components built into one, meaning you can not just protect the computer, but you also have capabilities to hunt, detect, and also detect the active threats and remotely respond to them with accuracy or precision. And then you also have the option of adding on a managed threat detection and response on top of all of this. So this will give you a fully managed service from Sophos, which will then include an expert team of threat hunting analysts, which will then detect and respond to threats instantly without having the input of the customer. Okay, so let's look at the problems that we currently have today in the threat landscape. So if we look at the issues out there, firstly, the one that stands out to me is mostly people having issues with time. So 26% of IT teams actually spend the time managing their security. So that is not what they should do on a daily basis. It's not what their job is to do it for the whole of or the entire day. There should be more time spent on other things. So that for me is the number one priority, trying to get systems that can actually talk to each other, which will then free up your time. And secondly, if you look at it, 2 out of 3 customers say that they don't have enough budget, or the technology that they have is a bit too low. So resources, again, is also a big issue. And if you look at the SMB market, there's not always the correct funds available. So it's hard to actually get the proper engineers and then also retain them, because they can also be a bit of expensive. It's difficult to find the correct person to employ them, and then also to getting them into to stay at your organization. Because if you look at it today, IT security is out there. A lot of people is looking for that skills. So for you as an engineer, if you find an opportunity, you will see that and you will look at going or reaching your career goals. So for people, growth is an issue. It's something that they all would want to do. So for you as the organization, it's something that's a bit of a downer, it's a downfall, because you don't always have the best people available. And if you do have them, they won't stick with you guys for too long. And then if you look at the other thing, which is visibility, a lot of data breaches happen because people don't actually have the tools available to see what exactly is happening on the environment. So if you look at it, you can buy the best of tools available, but again, if you don't have the personnel or the staff or the skill to actually manage it or look at it, then that will clearly just become a white elephant for you. So visibility, again, is very important. So getting the proper tools that can help you identify, because you do get customers that have been attacked and they actually know about it, but then you also have customers that doesn't really know that there's something lurking in the environment or that they've actually been a victim of an attack. So it's hard for people to actually have all of those things together in one to get their security to work in harness, because like I said, lack of time is important. You need to have time available to look at all different things. So you shouldn't spend too much time on one thing. Your tools that you have should have the flexibility to give the IT admin some free time. There should be some automation built in it, so you don't really have to look at it. And then also the fact, like I said, the resources, it's very hard to get the proper people out there to retain them, and then also to have them in your organization to assist you with doing your daily duties. And then again, visibility, getting the proper tools out there should give you the correct visibility in order to see exactly what is happening on your network, on your endpoints, and then also on your servers. Okay, so with Intercept X and EDR, we start with the strongest protection. So you have the best protection already. So that will basically stop most of your security breaches even before they can start. And then after that, we can add expertise and not headcount. So again, it's looking at adding technology and not necessarily adding new staff. So meaning we can detect and investigate suspicious activity with an AI-driven analysis. So the better the tools, the easier or the lighter it becomes on the IT admin. They won't need as much people. So we can also provide you tools for that will give the IT administrator some tools to investigate potential threats. So it doesn't just have to be something that has already happened or is currently happened. They can also look at things that have not even happened yet. So they can just make sure that the environment is clean. There's no unnecessary things lurking in the background. So that brings you some of the value features. So the value of having the best protection in the industry means that we can now lessen the burden on the EDR solution. Because again, you can have the best tools. Like I said, EDR will actually mean nothing if you don't have a proper endpoint security. That is something that not a lot of people know or understand, but that is just exactly how it is. The EDR tool is there to assist your endpoint security. So it will then act as a layer 2 security in place, and then that will make things, they should be able to talk together. So I don't think it will be very rare that you will get a endpoint security and an EDR that's from different solutions, because that will actually need more technology built into it. So normally when you buy a package, it will be endpoint security and EDR built into one, because they basically feed off each other. So that basically enables you also to stop attacks and reduce your overall attack surface, because ideally that is what IT security is about, to make it as hard as possible for a outsider to gain entry into your network or into your environment, be it at your endpoints, be it at mail, be it on your perimeter firewall. So that is what the main aim is, to stop the attacks and then to reduce that attack surface to make it as hard as possible for anybody to get in. So the very best EDR solution on the market should have very little to do, because that is ideally, if you have a good EDR and you have good endpoint, then most of your bases should be covered. But in a perfect world, that is not exactly what happens. And what's more significantly, it should reduce all those noise and the system, and it will lighten your overall workload. If you look at the noise, that is things like getting all the logs and all the alerts and all the events that gets pumped into your system. All of those should actually be correlated, and it should give you proper information. So having a solution out there will help you to get rid of that noise and actually get fruitful or useful information out of it. Okay? So with endpoint protection, we focus on determining if something is either benign or malicious. So benign will be not harmful, and then obviously malicious. But there's also a gray area of uncertainty, which we call the gray zone. So EDR is then defined by the gap or the ability to make sense of it. All right. So however EDR tools are weak in protection, that is the competitors, you need to then have a proper solution. So the gap will then be fairly large, because they don't have the proper tools or technologies in place. And for that incidents, then should have that it will then be filled with incidents that should have been stopped in the first place. So things that should have gotten through will then be there. It will show itself, and you guys will sit with malware. So it's as the industry's best protection against that. So you will then be able to see those things quickly, which means it will not only stop more threats, but it will also close that gap, and then again it will lead to a lighter workload, and also reducing that attack surface, which will have you at the proper standing, and it will also take away some of that noise, which will then give the IT admin the proper information that they will need. And then this will also allow you to focus on more important things than looking at your security systems. Okay, so again, it's add expertise and not headcount. So the idea, like I said, behind that is to make sure that you have the proper tools available and not necessarily add more headcount, which will then cost you more money at the end of the day. So with Intercept X and EDR, like I say, they add more technologies into their solutions. The solution can then replicate tasks that are normally performed by those skilled analysts. So having a solution that can talk to each other, the endpoint and the EDR should be in harness. They should be able to feed off each other, meaning your company can now just add more technology instead of spending money on staff that might not be there for a long time. Unlike other EDR solutions which rely on highly skilled humans, the Sophos version is actually there to assist you in asking questions, and then also to interpret data that has been put out by the system. So EDR is a very, very nice tool to have. It's very powerful. There's lots of nice things, especially with the new features in version 3. So this gives you the critical capabilities to IT generalists and also the security analysts, which will help them to do their job better. So you can now not only conduct threat hunting to find stealthy threats in your environment, but you can also now conduct IT hunting, which allows you to see and secure exactly what your network environment looks like from an IT operations point of view. So let's quickly look at some of the things that you can identify from there. So you can ask questions like, what can you now search for? You can now search for anything that you guys would like to see with regards to your network. So you can easily ask IT operation questions like, why is the machine so slow? Is it pending a reboot? You can now find out that information without physically have to go to that machine. And are the critical services running on your machine that you need? And are there any programs on the computer that should be removed? All of that can now be done from the management console, which is the Sophos cloud console. And then search queries can also be conducted. You can now see what is that search query is now available out of the box. So you can use that immediately after you have activated your license. You have deployed your endpoint. So having that option enabled will give your administrator that they can use that, like I said, out of the box. They can create their own queries and they can run live queries to discover exactly what is happening on those endpoints. So the questions, like I said, that you can ask and answer from there is things like why the machine is slow. You can connect to the machine. You can run that query. Are the critical services running, like the encryption or firewall or the AV protection? All of those things can be done. You can find known vulnerabilities and all of those bad certificates, those type of things. You can check for the basic security practices. Things like is remote sharing enabled? All of those can now be done using the new EDR3 tool. All right, so Live Discover now also allows analysts to ask like threat hunting questions such as what processes are trying to make a network connection, understand non-standard ports. So you can connect to that machine, you can check the ports, you can do everything, you can see exactly what is happening. You can even list the detected IOCs, the indicators of compromise that are mapped to the Meter attack framework, which will then also allow you guys to find out exactly which PowerShell executions were performed. With this new feature, you can also track down the processes which has been disguised as services.exe. That is possibly one of the biggest headaches that's out there if you can't identify what threat it is. So a lot of threats use evasion techniques, so they will disguise themselves as something else. So it will be harder for you as the security engineer to actually pick up on that and see exactly what has happened. So we can now ask questions again about what is happening at this moment, as well as what has happened in the past. So, like I said, this Live Discover feature, the search queries features, opens a whole new world with regards to endpoint security. So, Live Discover now allows you to examine your data for almost any question that you can think of by searching across endpoints and servers for these SQL queries. So, like I said, these new features give that capability to the IT admin. There's lots of things. Just imagine from an IT point of view, if you can have command prompt access to any machine, you can then basically do anything that you want. You can uninstall software. You can look at the active processes. You can even kill them if you have the correct permissions. So now you can choose from a selection of pre-created queries that's built into the solution, and they can also be customized to pull out the exact information that you'll need. So again, they've made it simple. So they have large forms of simplification built into the solution. And now this information or the data can now also be stored up to 90 days on the disk, and it will then be available with this new live Discover feature. So you can see exactly what is happening, and you can have that data for up to 90 days. Should you use it? Should you need to use it again in a couple of days time within your investigation process? So just quickly to see exactly what this looks like. So if you go onto your Sophos Central and you go into your threat hunting, you'll be able to open this command prompt and then access the computer that you are connected to, or that you have selected, and then you should be able to run any script, edit configuration files. You should be able to uninstall software. You can run any forensic tool. So for IT, this is a very important tool. It will help you and it will save you time. Like I said, especially for the SMB market, they don't always have a lot of people around, or they don't have the best tools available. So having something like this will really lighten the load. So with live response, you can now remotely remediate the managed service device with a command line interface, like I said. So like I said, there's uninstallation. You can run everything from command prompt. You can change config. You can terminate processes and then also reboot devices. So anything that you can do on command prompt, you can then do from that console. So note, you can only use this function if you have multi-factor authentication enabled. So that is a requirement by the console to have access on this level to that one endpoint. Okay, so if we look at some of the benefits of IT operations and threat hunting, we can see that we work faster by identifying and remediating threats almost instantly with these EDR tools. So we can do more with less resources. With adding the expertise and our headcount, like I mentioned, Intercept Advanced and EDR can replicate the task like any of the security engineers or the skilled analysts that you might have in your organization. So again, like I said, you don't have to add more people. You can just add more technology or add the correct technology to make things a lot lighter for you. So essentially with the EDR, you can stay ahead of your targeted threat hunting, and you can also conduct these deeper investigations and respond to incidents faster. So that is also an important factor. You can get the information, you can have all the events, you can have all the alerts, but if you can't get the correct information out of it to put the puzzle together, then you won't be able to react on the incident in time. And again, if you don't have any isolation tools in place, then that threat or malware, whatever attack it is, can spread laterally, and then that can become an even bigger attack that you guys won't be able to manage. So again, having the tools available that can help you. You also have the option to isolate your device if you have found out that is the machine that is giving you the attack or that is infected, and you can take it off your network. You can clean it off, and then once everything is done, and then you can allow it back onto the network. So ideally, the EDR is there to help you to identify these type of attacks, and then you can quickly act to get these things sorted out as quick as possible. So again, some of the key differentiators with regards to the Sophos endpoint protection and EDR tools. It's basically, it is built for the IT generalist. It's built for IT security analysts. There's a lot of out-of-the-box tools available. They are all customizable. All of those live discovered features is available, and then also the option to search queries. And then you have the 90 days on this data retention. So all of those is there just to give you value, to show you that the solution is actually a proper tool. It can help you. It can lighten the burden on the IT admin. And again, it will also, at the end of the day, make you guys more secure. So let's look at the EDR solution struggle today. Again, the traditional EDR products have a number of different challenges that is common between them. So let's look at it. Some of them might be a bit difficult to use. They can't operate the tool efficiently. Like I said, you can buy the best tools available out there on the market today, but if you don't have the proper engineers, then it will then become a white elephant. So you need to, it is also they don't have the correct value in the application. So filling a big bucket full of data and sifting through that will take a lot of time and money and also resources. So you need to have the best people available in order to operate your tool, and they will often use human intuition and experience to make those connections between the events that they've picked up and also what is happening in real time. So it takes lots of time, money to actually get to that skill level. So to become a security expert and to get those value out of your solution. So to get that proper solution, you need to actually spend money to get the correct people and then also buy that tool. So it's just some of the struggles that we have out there with regards to EDR tools. And again, the most important thing that I've mentioned at the beginning, having the correct people available. So having the proper resources out there, of getting them is a bit difficult. So that is one of the key features or that our solution has that they can stand out with regards to their competitors. So it's not always easy getting the best people out there to have those tools, to run it, and to also get the best value out of it, to actually demonstrate the actual return on investment. So to summarize, With the Intercept X Advanced, we focus on the best protection to stop the widest range of threats. It's ideally there to prevent and repel. So like I said, it will stop most of your threats. And from there, you can move over to the next tool. So with Intercept X and Advanced with EDR, we focus more on providing your internal team with the tools to improve your IT operations, as well as conducting their own threat hunting investigations. And lastly, we have the MTR, which is the Managed Threat Detection and Response, which was there to provide threat hunting and response as a service to your customers after hours or also on a 24/7 basis. Okay, if you have any questions right now, you guys are welcome to ask. We have come to the end of the presentation, so I have myself and Rudy available if you guys have any questions. Just check the chat line, see if there's any questions in there. I don't see anything. No questions. Either you guys know the solution or you have received the message. Okay, so that will bring us to the end of this webinar. In summary, we have now looked at the key benefits and features of the endpoint detection and response, as well as we've seen the new Live Discover feature. So we now know exactly what the solution does and how it will benefit our customers. So thank you guys for your time, and thank you for joining this live webinar. See you again next week, where we will look at the XG firewall. Thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.